Peter Obi is becoming the bride of this 2027 elections. What I mean by bride, there is no coalition right now you can speak of without speaking about joining forces with Peter Obi. I mean, who was the winner categorically of that election? Most people say, oh, well, apart from the winner, the APC turning out 8.8 million votes, and PDP 6.9 million votes, and Labour Party being 6.1 million votes. The actual winner of that election is Peter Obi. Why? Because beyond the numbers that the INEC told us, that nobody believed that Peter Obi can gather that particular amount of votes. Nobody, not even people from his constituents, the Southeast, thought that he could muster that amount of votes. So that also affected the kinds of people whom he thought could work with him naturally and generally. For instance, someone like Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso, one of the reasons why he stated that he cannot be Peter Obi's vice is the fact that Peter Obi hasn't run for any presidential election, so you don't even know his strengths. You don't even know where his constituents. You don't know who is going to actually vote for him. And so they were skeptical. Why Kwankwaso, a former minister, former this, former that, former governor, how can I come and be? I'm his senior. That kind of talk. I mean, for those who missed that, just in case, look at what he said before the 2023 elections. He cannot be vice to Peter Obi. He said that, and other persons. El Rufai was one of the prominent people from the north who said, "We put a big. What does he know? What does he know about politics? He cannot win anything. In fact, the best he can do is either south, southeast, and south, and that's all." And it was even comparing an entire Anambra State numbers to one local government in the north. Okay. Just listen to him.
How can Peter Obi win any election? Peter Obi is polling 1% in Sokoto, 2% in Katsina, 5% in Kano. That's where the votes are. All states are not equal. The fact that you are doing 70% in Anambra State does not mean somebody doing 10% in Kano is not better than you. The number of votes in Anambra is the size of one local government in Kaduna State. So all states are not equal. If you poll states and you make them equal, yes, Peter Obi will sweep the southeastern states. He will do well in South-South. Where else? He's not polling well in Southwest, other than a drop in the ocean in Lagos. He is polling in the Christian enclaves in the north. He's polling well, but how many are they? Peter Obi cannot win the election. He doesn't have the number of states. He doesn't have 25% in more than, the last time we checked, in more than 16 states. He can't go anywhere. Peter Obi is a Nollywood actor, and that's all he will be.
So largely that influenced, Obi's chances. Imagine Peter Obi, forming an alliance with Kwankwaso. There would have been some difference. Some difference would have been made, even though maybe not winning the election. Because if you add Kwankwaso's numbers, which is 1.4, 1.5, and add Peter Obi's 6.1, you are talking about something in the neighborhood of around 7 point something, maybe around 8 point something, maybe coming second above PDP. It would have made a little bit of difference. But Kwankwaso was saying that Peter Obi is a social media president. You can't transform those numbers you see on social media, because all the polls were pointed towards Peter Obi as the next president of Nigeria. So you cannot equate that to, the numbers. You can't equate that to winning an election. He hasn't shown any capacity. He hasn't gone for an election alone. And so that's why some persons are saying, thank God that Peter Obi mustered the courage to go that election alone, all along. And yes, he failed. He didn't win that election. But it made a lot of difference. Did you see what people are beginning to say? Before and after, go and check what people were saying before the election in 2023, and go and check what people are saying now. Kwankwaso the other day said he wouldn't mind being a vice president to Peter Obi after the election. He wouldn't mind that, or what he was saying, that let the terms be reached. But this guy didn't talk about terms. So he was saying that I am senior to him. I am former minister, I am former governor. He hasn't been former minister. Oh, I'm a senior. But now the mouth is beginning to shake. Even El-Rufai's son tweeted when El-Rufai defected to the SDP that he wouldn't mind though, that Peter Obi is not a bad guy after all. Peter Obi is not a bad leader after all, but somebody that threw all sorts of tantrums at Peter Obi before the 2023 election, through ethnicity, through bigotry, through anything you want to think of when it comes to chaos, through all sorts of things to him. And after throwing those things, and now all of a sudden, 2 years down the line, you are now shouting, oh, Peter Obi, he's after all not a bad. Oh, really? But before 2023 was a bad leader. What has changed since then? Hasn't he been consistent? You know, Peter Obi is beginning to be the bride of this election. Even APC doesn't even mind having Peter Obi on their platform. It's crazy, my friends. It's crazy. And recently, the most recent, of course, is Atiku saying through some groups, because again, we know how these political things run. I mean, politicians will find a way of getting into the hearts and the minds of people by going through coalition, political groups, go and say this on the media and then see how it goes. Some groups now are out championing the cause of Atiku. And now that they're saying it's no longer Atiku running 8 years, it's Atiku doing 4 years, and then after 4 years, Peter Obi can become president. That's the only way, the only pathway for Peter Obi to become the next president of Nigeria is for him to take the position of the vice president slot from Atiku, and then by 2031, they will hand over to Peter Obi. Previously, it used to be that Peter Obi, before the 2023 election, even Atiku didn't even believe in the strength of Peter Obi. Atiku didn't believe. Atiku thought that in 2019, that the numbers that he got was around 12 million. The numbers that he got was just merely his numbers, that these are the numbers that he can gather on a very good day, that Peter Obi did not do anything about the numbers that he got in 2019. Remember, Peter Obi was his vice in 2019, even though they didn't win. I think Buhari scored 14 million and he scored 12 million. So he's in his mind, there's no way Peter Obi will be able to do anything now. What was that? He will not be able to do anything. If not, if Atiku actually sat Peter Obi down and said, look, guy, let's do this thing. I don't mind picking you as vice. Even though at that time, the dynamics were different. You know, every election has its own dynamics. Every election has its own dynamics. There was this air of chaos, of disgruntlement and all of that. Peter Obi didn't even mind. Atiku didn't even mind. Say, I beg, he wants to go and let him go. I can pick a vice. After all, I did 12 million in 2019. I can do another. Once I'm able to do another 12 million, then I can pick anybody as vice. And Peter Obi cannot muster any. We can't do 1 million. After all, we have not seen him gone on any election before. He has always hidden under my shadow. So blah blah blah. Let's just ruffle it. That's. Though he may not have come out to say that, but that's what I'm thinking in my mind. That's what he said. That's what is in his mind. Because if not, how difficult is it to convince Peter Obi to stay back and be his vice? How difficult is it? But Peter Obi did what he did because he wanted to prove a point. And then he did. And that point today has been proven. Everybody wants to be Peter Obi's vice. Everybody, all Tom, Dick, and Harry now wants to be Peter Obi's bride. Oh, okay, what was the main cause in that time, 2019? Why didn't you say that it's 4 years? Now you are telling Peter Obi the only pathway to becoming president in Nigeria is through me. Like, seriously. After Buhari did 8 years, Northwest, a Southerner has just done 4 years from Southwest. Now you are now saying that, it has to be you. And the power to go to the north again so that you will not give it to him in 2031. I mean, this is politics, and nobody would listen to you now. This politics you are trying to play, Atiku, is a politics that maybe if it was 2010 or 2013, somebody might begin to listen to you. But with what politics is today and what people know as politicians who say one thing and do another thing, you know that cannot fly. So whoever it is that is the coalition or political group who have been saying to you, Peter Obi, the only pathway to becoming president is through me, as as God that you are. It's like that portion of the Bible is said, the only pathway to me is through my son, Jesus. You know, this sounded like it. My dear, if, for instance, the tide has changed, say, maybe a southerner has just finished, and then maybe a northerner is now going to become the president, then Peter Obi has not, I mean, Peter Obi can be a vice to somebody if the trajectory, because in this country, all we have all done is to make sure that power rotates south, north, south, north, south, north. So, if, for instance, it was that the power rotation favored the north, then you would have said, okay, Peter Obi would have been vice, but not 2027 that the power rotation favors the south. You want Peter Obi to be your vice, to carry his number to your own, so that by 2031 you start giving him stories. No. Atiku, I would rather you step down, support Peter Obi to do 4 years. After that 4 years, he can then hand over to you in 2031, and by that time, the numbers, the south, the power rotation will now favor the north. Then Peter Obi can gladly hand over the ticket to you under PDP. That is what it should be. Except that, nothing more. I mean, and the party is even already dying. We're hearing 4 other governors of the party are going to defect. If they're not going to defect, they're just going to work for the APC's presidential candidate, which is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And you don't want that to happen back to back. They're losing the election in 2019. You lost in 2015, lost in 2019, you lost in 2023, and you're about to lose 4 straight in 2027. And that is going to be very devastating. So anything that the PDP can do, even if it means begging Peter Obi to return to the party and get the ticket so that he can collapse his Obidient Movement into the party and also gather people who are from Labour Party a little bit, who can support that numbers to get you people some mainstream stuff. I mean, to even get you people to dare to win the presidential election. If you go the whole hog, you are going to be beating double black. You know, so you rather that these things are put in proper perspective. You know, telling a Peter Obi that the only path to become the president is through you, support you, and you do 4 years. And when the power rotation favors the south, you are even telling him to commit suicide. It's just like telling somebody, go and commit suicide. Power rotation supports the south. You are asking him to support you to be president. How does that make any sense? Power rotation supports the south, favors the south. You support Peter Obi to be president in 2019, in 2027. By 2031, when power now rotates to the north, then it will now be you. That is what it should be. You know, the north is not born to rule. After all, at the end of the day, it's all about collaboration. It's all about collaboration. No particular region can win the election. At least it has shown over time. No one region can win an election. So there has to be collaboration. And if that collaboration is not there, you can't win. So by and large, like it or leave it, you will need a Peter. Peter Obi is the bride of this particular election. And if there's any coalition that doesn't involve him, that coalition is dead on arrival. Pata. You go back and probably do his 6 million votes, or maybe at worst he does 5 million votes, or at the very best he does maybe 7 million votes. He doesn't win. Fine. If we go to the next election, 2031, when power rotates to the north, there's no way you will not, as whatever president you are in the north, you won't be looking for a vice president that will give you the numbers in the south. And of course, you are going to look at southeast too, and think of Peter Obi, who has all these numbers. And if you don't, it's your own cup of tea. So I don't get this thing you people are doing every time Atiku. And how many times will Atiku run for presidency? How many times you have lost since 2007? Since 2007, when you left as vice president, you have been running for presidency up until this date. We've seen what was his name, Buhari, who was trying to become Nigeria's president, and only lucky at the 4th time. We see where he took us to. So what makes us feel that giving you the opportunity itself to become the president would even not make our country worse than where we left it off? I'm just thinking to myself, it's just me talking, and I don't know. I'm just an ordinary person giving my opinion about the Nigerian politics. So I might be wrong, but then these are genuine issues, you know. So whoever it is, for all that it's worth, sell this to Atiku and let him know that Peter Obi will not be his vice in 2027. Let him step down and support Peter Obi for whatever party he's going to come out from. And then by 2031, when power rotation favors the North, Peter Obi can return the gesture. That is what it should be. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate. God bless.